Hello, what is good, boxing fans, boxing critics, and Box Young? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your subscribes. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for following. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. Much love. I appreciate it so much, you guys. We're all family, one love. Boxing community. Thank you so much, guys. Shouts from the South. Y'all know where we from. Shouts from Mexico. I want to talk about today. I just want to do it live, all right? Periodically, I go live. Y'all know how I do it. And I want to talk about trends in boxing, okay? Just as this live is titled, I might change it or modify the title in the future, right? Shortly after we start. You know, obviously I usually add in my lives and more after the title of the main point at hand, but it just depends on the comments and things like that. Thank you so much for tuning in afterwards. Also, if you don't tune in live, thank you so much. And I wanted to talk about this. I have been talking about this for a while. I don't recall doing a live specifically on this topic though. I have done videos constantly recently, not just recently, but some time ago also on my channel about the things that we're seeing in boxing. One of my first videos, as a matter of fact, on my very young channel, small channel. One of my first videos is called I think it's called Box Talk, More Business, Less Legends, something like that. And I started talking about the trends that we're seeing in boxing. What we're going to talk about today, what I want to talk about today, is something similar to that, but trends are new. Okay. For example, excuse me, we're seeing new trends now. It's similar to that, and it all revolves around business. As a matter of fact, you know what? This just came to my mind right now. I'm gonna try to find it. Okay, I'm gonna open up my Twitter account real quick and find it. All right, it just came to my mind right now. I didn't have it prepared, as a matter of fact. I jotted down some simple notes, just to have points, talking points, but it just came to mind. There was shouts out to Stay Ready TV, all right? Shouts out to my brother, Stay Ready, much love. And he interviewed a member of Jamal and Jermell Charlo's, and it was the trainer. It's the trainer, okay? He's the trainer. And it's cool because Stay Ready, go subscribe to him, go check him out, Stay Ready, on YouTube. People were asking questions to the coach. Yeah, he's a coach. And I'm gonna try to find it, all right? And I asked, okay, and I really, it just came up to my mind. I'm surprised I forgot about this. Hopefully I can find it, okay? And I asked a question. And the answer, of what coach responded, it kind of surprised me, but not much, at least, because I mean, it's kind of what I want to talk about today. I mean, but it all revolves on what I was talking about a moment ago, that it all revolves around business. These things revolve around business, and I hope I can find it. It was retweeted, as a matter of fact, or I was at least mentioned in this. I was mentioned in this post in Twitter by another user on Twitter, and I had no idea I was tagged, and it was about a question I asked. But man, I'm trying to find it. Maybe I'll find it later. But anyways, but getting back to what I was saying, that the trends in boxing, you guys, that we're seeing nowadays, it's all about business. Y'all know what it is. You know what it's about. It's all about business, and this is why we're seeing these trends. Referring back to the video that I talked about, one of my first videos I posted up, it was just called Box Talk, More Business, Less Legends. Okay. That's a trend that we have been seeing for years. I think one of the reasons why, okay, let me just give a little mini introduction about what we're going to talk about today. Okay. I think one of the reasons why that we're seeing these trends is because of Mayweather, like legendary Floyd Mayweather. Um, you know, one of the trends that we have seen for the past that kind it's probably it has been before, but it's more relevant nowadays. It's just booming. Okay, one of these trends in boxing is milking fights, milking potential super fights. We saw it with Mayweather, which was an excellent strategy by Mayweather. I mean, it was an excellent business strategy where he made. I mean, he capitalized on this strategy that Mayweather did, which was the potential fight, against Pacquiao. We all know that they fought, but I say potential because many people were talking about it for years. We're talking years, guys. We're not talking months. Okay. Mayweather, he was just milking it, waiting. And when the fight finally came, man, they capitalized on that fight. I'm talking about, economically, you know what I mean? Financially, Mayweather, man, he left with millions and millions and millions. And I don't even remember the number, but I know it was a whole bunch of money. Excuse me. So, it seems like a lot of fighters, from that fight, and a lot of people weren't even, hey, Mahari Nation, salute. Go subscribe to Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, brother. Thank you. I'm just talking about trends in boxing, bro. Trends. As a matter of fact, man, if you want to tune in, let me know, man. If you want to join in, bro, just let me know. Send me a message real quick so we can chop this up. Okay, if you want. All right, we're just talking about trends in boxing and stuff like that. Just let me know, bro. I'll send you a link. So Floyd Mayweather, right? And when that fight actually came, a lot of people were disappointed. You know what I mean? It wasn't, because we know the age that they fought, they were kind of older, and it wasn't necessarily. With Floyd Mayweather, though, I mean, he's a legend, in the sport. It seems like he's always in his prime. You know what I'm saying? But technically speaking, he was a little bit up there in age as far as boxing is concerned and stuff like that. So, and Pacquiao also. So, I mean, a lot of people, the fight wasn't what many anticipated. What many expected as far as what the fight, would be like. The turnout of the fight between Mayweather and Pacquiao. But the reason why I say this, guys, is because, Floyd Mayweather kind of had, he brought that trend to boxing, being business-minded, more business-minded. Obviously, the craft, it speaks for itself. I'm not talking about the craft. I'm just talking about the trends that we're speaking right now. And a lot of fighters now are catching on to that. They have like trying to use that blueprint, that what they call it, the Mayweather blueprint, milking fights. We see it between champions nowadays. Not all of them, not all of them. There are exceptions. There are exceptions, definitely, but there are fighters who are just milking potential mega fights. You know what I'm saying? They're just milking it. The promoters know because they learned off of Mayweather, legendary Mayweather. They're just, they're copying that. They're copying that. That's one trend, but that's not the trend I want to focus on. Okay. But it does relate to it as far as finances, financially. That's where it relates. Because we know that any business, any industry, any company, it revolves around money. I mean, money making, if there's no profit, there's no point. You know what I'm saying? If there's no profit, I'll repeat it. If there's no profit, there's no points. There's no purpose, I guess. A lot of boxers, there are a few boxers that don't think like that. I mean, they want legacy. They want to fight the best, and that's what I'm for. I dig that as a boxing fan. I don't know if I would be called a hardcore boxing fan. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't watch boxing all day. I don't have time for it. I'm too busy. Okay, but I love it. I love the sport of boxing. I guess I can be called a hardcore fan, I guess, but you know what I'm saying? Some boxers out there still fight for legacy. We got to make that known. And that's what I push. I try to promote that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have been pushing out videos regardless of who it is. I mean, I've criticized Canelo. I've criticized Triple G. At first, I did like Triple G, but then recently seeing his, I've been saying that he should have retired a long time ago, I've criticized a lot of fighters, but at the same time, I do also congratulate them. I praise them as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's precisely why, I promote the best fighting the best all the time. I mean, that's what it's about. But I want to talk about this trend, okay? The trend that we're seeing nowadays in boxing, okay? A lot of people, this is really, really controversial. Excuse me. This is really controversial in the sport of boxing right now. And it all started, and to a certain extent, I think maybe it hasn't started with what I'm going to say right now, but it has probably been before. I just don't know too much about the history of boxing as far as the roots, 30, 40 years ago, maybe 20 years up to now or more, right? 25. Mike Tyson days, right? That's when I started really getting into boxing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is one of my favorite. He's one of my tops, man. Definitely. Mike Tyson, man. I mean, I want to make a video on him soon. I don't know when, but I've been, marinating on that idea. I love Mike Tyson, man. Amazing, legendary knockout power puncher. Oh my gosh, man. Awesome. But anyways, maybe it was before, but I don't think it was. Okay. But I see it more relevant and more prevalent, as far as this trend that I want to talk about. I have seen it like triggered, in the world as far as the boxing community, the sport of boxing is Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. It seems like Mayweather versus Conor McGregor just got the attention of, not just boxing, but combat sports in general, fighters, and it just brought a big attraction in the sport of boxing. And, it seems like that fight, Conor McGregor versus Mayweather, excuse me, has just triggered it sparked something. It sparked a fire. And that fire is just, it's blowing more and more, the flames are rising in the forest, metaphorically speaking. And it's just growing now. And so Mayweather versus Conor, personally, excuse me, I'm under the weather. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm under the weather. I'm kind of coughing and, I got a cold, man. This weather, man, this cold weather just got me. But, so Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, me as a, boxing fan, I kind of lost interest in Floyd Mayweather ever since after the fight of, Andre Berto. I liked that fight. Mayweather once again showed his amazing skills at the age he was in on his way to retirement, quote unquote, right? Then he fought Conor McGregor. When Conor McGregor was announced, Conor McGregor, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, I was totally not interested. I thought it was a joke, okay? Obviously, the business side of it, like I was talking at the moment, at the beginning, the business side of it was obviously a moneymaker. That is precisely why, and you guys know it, and, in the ring walk, Floyd Mayweather was dressed as a crook, as a bank robber. Because he knew he was robbing the bank. He knew he knew what he was doing, and it was a great business decision. He made a whole Trey X. What is good? What is up, brother? What is going on, man? Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. And so, just getting back to what I was saying, that the trends in boxing. We're talking about the trends in boxing, okay? And so ever since that, Floyd Mayweather McGregor fight was announced, I wasn't interested in it. I was thinking, how can it be? Conor McGregor got his boxing, license, and now he's going to fight the best. How can that be? And it really demotivated me as a boxing fan and watching that fight. I mean, eventually I watched it. I think everyone did, right? Even though many thought, real boxing fans probably thought it was a ridiculous, thing to do. But hey, we watched it. So, I mean, I admit it. I'm the first to admit it. So whatever, right? But, I was like, dude, why? This is unfair. I thought it was totally unfair for Conor McGregor to fight Mayweather. He just jumped up the ladder, all of a sudden, first pro fight to fight Mayweather. That trend, guys, it seems like it just hit the market, the boxing industry, the sports industry. It just lit on fire ever since that fight. It's totally unfair in my point of view, okay, for a fighter. I mean, for a person, whatever sports background he comes from, talking to Conor McGregor in this case, MMA, to fight, to, get your first pro fight to fight Mayweather. Wow. I mean, that was just like, whoa. I mean, amazing business decision. I repeat, that's awesome that they made a whole bunch of money. But as far as I'm speaking to the point of view as a boxing fan, as a critic, as an analyst, I love the sport, and I just didn't like it, as far as that, like, how can it be? That's totally unfair. A lot of people were in line to fight Mayweather at that time, what I'm saying? Even though Floyd Mayweather was retired. And then after that, shortly after that, we saw, I'm speaking of the beginning of this, you guys, and then I'm going to get into now, okay? The trends that we're seeing now in 2019, 2020, okay? I'm just speaking a little background, okay? So, excuse me. And then shortly after that, right, you see Floyd Mayweather fight that, I forgot his name, sorry, with all due respect. I mean, that Asian dude, okay? Exhibition fight over in Asia, okay? That also made millions of dollars. I mean, Floyd Mayweather, what I'm saying? And those things that people have been seeing, that trend, a lot of people are doing that now. Now let's get into now, okay? Let's get into now. Now we're seeing, okay, and then and it trickled down to all this, like trickled down to, right, to this level. Now we're seeing, right, we saw, or many people saw, Logan, right, Logan Paul versus KSI, the first fight. It wasn't a pro fight. They were with their helmets. Then we saw them have a rematch, right? First pro fight, both of them, DAZN, you know, right there for the world to see. And then now we're going to see, or now, you know, I mean, it's going to happen. Jake Paul versus Gib, Anderson Gib. Okay, Anderson Gib. A lot of people don't, you know, aren't paying attention too much as far as the boxing community is concerned. But I want to talk about this because it's happening in boxing, you guys. This is for, you know, this is boxing, so I got to talk about it real quick. I want to get it. Okay, just hold on real quick. So salute to Brother Mahari. I just want to get these real quick. Would you be interested in Amanda Nunes versus Clarissa Shields? Amanda's the MMA fighter, right, bro? I was going to talk about that a moment ago. Yeah, I was going to say that. Not a moment ago, but I was planning to talk about that. I'm building up. Just confirm to me, bro. Trey, Amanda is the MMA fighter, right? She's the MMA fighter, right? Yeah, I was going to get into that. I'm just building up to it, brother. Just confirm. Yeah, can you confirm, please? Amanda Nunes, she's the MMA fighter, right? So now we're seeing, okay, Jake Paul versus Anderson Gib. Anderson Gib is... He's a gamer, a YouTube gamer. About, you know, he transmits live. You know, I don't know. I haven't seen any of his videos. I never even know who the heck this kid was. With all due respect, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who this kid is. Never knew who he was until this was announced. You know, Jake Paul. Jake Paul is Logan Paul's brother, right? And then Anderson Gib is some FIFA gamer, okay, and YouTube. So now they're gonna fight, okay. A pro fight. If I'm not mistaken, it's a pro fight. Now, look at, you see, that's what I'm saying. This is a trend, guys. I'm passionate about this because this is a trend that we're seeing in boxing. It's a country. Yeah, MMA fighter. Thanks, bro. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I was gonna talk. I was building up to that. We're gonna get into that. So now, yeah, I'm passionate about this, you guys, because this is something that we're seeing in boxing. It's really controversial. Maybe not a lot of people are talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe other media, you know, as far as YouTube and things like that, what have you, platforms, they're not really talking about it. Maybe because, you know, because it's to the point of offensive to the sport of boxing. It's to the point, excuse me. It's to the point where it's like offensive to the sport of boxing because look, this is the reasons why. I'm just neutrally speaking out on it. Okay. Personally, my point of view is I think it is offensive. I think it's a joke, but I'm just talking about it from a neutral standpoint. You know what I'm saying? If people who are tuning in or who are going to tune in that think it's a good idea, hey, all power to you, bro. I mean, I'm not hating at all. You know what I'm saying? This is not, you know, I never hate. Y'all know me. As far as with my channel, I don't hate. So I respect all opinions. So, you know what I'm saying? But I'm passionate about this because how can it be? You know, this is what I'm getting to. You got Jake Paul now versus Anderson Gib, you know, having this kind of platform, fighting pro, you know what I'm saying? Logan Paul versus KSI, their rematch, fighting pro, you know, and I respect their grind. I'm not against that at all. I respect their grind in YouTube and whatever facets that they have, you know, grinded in to get to the point that they are and the success that they're in. That's awesome. Nothing against that. But what I see is this, that you have pro fighters who have been fighting and grinding for years. Excuse me. I'm under the weather. Just repeat, okay? Amateur fighting since they were kids, you know, since they barely learned how to talk or, you know, whatever, what have you, run. You know, their parents brought them up in the gym or their dad or what have you, you know, they all got stories, years of grinding, years of hard work and dedication in the amateur fights, 100, 200 amateur fights, 300 amateur fights. You know what I'm saying? And then to get into pro barely, you know, fighting years of pro and barely getting on the stage of the limelight, you know what I'm saying? Blood, sweat, and tears. And barely getting, you know, publicized on television now, network, TV contracts, publishing, you know, with promoters and things like that. And what I see is this is the thing, you know, it seems to me unfair, you know, for going back to the roots, Conor McGregor getting the opportunity to fight a Floyd Mayweather, you know what I'm saying? And or like in this, it's much more like controversial, where you see like people like Jake Paul, these kids, you know what I'm saying? Anderson Gim, all respect to these kids, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to pro boxing, them getting the platform that they're in out of nowhere, it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a quite controversial thing, and in the sport of boxing, you know what I'm saying, that many probably aren't really delving into it much. But I want to, you know what I'm saying? I need to, because I have been feeling this ever since this stuff has been happening. Ever since Conor McGregor, ever since Mayweather versus McGregor came up, I just waited on it, and I was like, let's see where this leads to. Let's see where this leads to. And I think it's because of that, you guys. This triggered it all. I'm not putting any fault or anything like that on Mayweather. No, I mean, he's a legend. I mean, I love him. But I'm just speaking of the trend that we're seeing and what it's getting to now. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have seen that, I think, and they're just capitalizing on that idea, which was a brilliant business move by Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? So Eddie Hearn, I think he's frantically, and this is what's going to connect to this. Watch. Let me go to an article. Okay, this was posted on World Boxing News. I'll leave the link in the description. All right. This is by World Boxing News. All right. And this is an article that's talking about DAZN, okay? And it says why DAZN needs a pay-per-view boxing option and fast. I want to talk just a little bit about this, read a little bit in the article, okay? Because it connects to this trend that we're seeing now, okay? It says DAZN has been the subject of several articles, okay, over the last few weeks, questioning the sustainability of the streaming service long term. Now, I got to say something, guys. According to this article, it says that it has been the subject of several articles, but it hasn't only been, and this is my personal input, it hasn't only been the subject of several articles, but it has also been the subject of several media members, you know what I'm saying, or, platforms on YouTube, that talk about the same thing. Many people have been talking about this, about how they have been seeing how the DAZN model, it looks like it's not profiting at all. Okay, I'm going to continue reading this article real fast because it links into the trend that we're seeing right now, guys. Huge contracts, it says here, huge contracts handed out to Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin have subscriptions to an imperative point. Okay, to an imperative point. I think it's at a desperate point now, not imperative. Okay, anyway, despite statements from the likes of Eddie Hearn on DAZN's increasing success, it's a well-known fact that purchases are not on target. Okay, check this out, guys. The article says that despite statements from the likes of Eddie Hearn on DAZN's increasing success, one thing about Eddie Hearn, if you go back to Eddie Hearn and check him out, check out all the multitudes of interviews that he has, like 1 hour interviews. I don't watch them because I don't have the time for that. But when you investigate what he says, ever since Anthony Joshua, before he even touched ground on American soil, you know what I'm saying, years ago, before that, Eddie Hearn, he's really, he talks a lot. And when you talk a lot, you tend to contradict yourself. Okay, I mean, it's a tendency that people might have, and more probable. It's more probable for a person who talks a lot to contradict themselves. Right? Eddie Hearn, he has said a lot of things, man, and it's not really easy to believe him. Okay, I mean, it's not, maybe for gullible people it is, but people in the real world who have their head on their shoulders, you know what I mean, and had their head screwed in with a little bit more common sense and things like that. Whatever, right? Eddie Hearn's not. He's not trustworthy, man. So I'm going to continue this. It says around 600. So I'm sorry, before I continue, Eddie Hearn's saying that DAZN is increasing. Eddie Hearn is saying that, DAZN, we're doing great. Our market, we're doing awesome and American soil and this and that. It says around 650,000 in the United States is way below the standard needed as DAZN push for longevity in a crowded marketplace. Excuse me. So 650,000 subscribers is way below the standard in the United States. Okay. So, I mean, and this article goes on to say about, ESPN, it has 3.5 million subscribers, and they charge less than DAZN, or approximately less, so, and it says here, the article continues, it says, add to the fact that ESPN has a clutch of pound for pound stars in their ranks and DAZN is falling behind. Canelo is its main asset. The Mexican commands the majority of the platform, whilst his big rival Golovkin is yet to fulfill the promise a mammoth deal had hoped for. Let me continue reading this. Hold on, okay? At 37 and signing a 6-fight deal, talking about Golovkin, it's hard to see why Triple G was handed such a long contract in his twilight years, okay? DAZN, check what this article says. I totally disagree with it. DAZN should have pushed for Canelo versus Triple G trilogy, and maybe even 4 as part of the deal, Heck no. Okay, I mean, I think that if there's a trilogy, guys, Canelo's going to even knock out Triple G. I mean, there's no point. I mean, watch the videos I talked about Triple G and Canelo. I mean, it's just, I explained it all already. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's a point in that. But the point of this article, this is what I'm getting at. This article is talking about DAZN should launch pay-per-view to get profit. They got to make their money back. They're just dishing out way too much money. You know, Eddie Hearn is sitting here dishing out millions and millions of dollars to all these fighters. And the thing is that the matchups aren't really that attractive. That's the problem. Who wants to fight? I mean, who wants to? Nobody, not much people want to watch Canelo versus Fielding. You know what I'm saying? You know, Canelo versus Kovalev was a cool fight, whatever, but it was also controversial. All the fights that Canelo is having, not all of them, but quite a few of them, you know, they're quite controversial. Canelo's an awesome fighter, saying nothing about Canelo. I'm talking about DAZN and, you know, about the marketing strategy and things like that. You know, it seems like they have the names. They have quite a good names. I'm not saying they don't. They have great names, DAZN. But it seems like the fights that they're putting forth, you know what I'm saying? It's not like pulling in the people. It's not pulling in the fans. It's not pulling in the attraction that they expected. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, real quick. Let's get to Trey X, a comment. At the same time, KSI and Logan Paul sold 1 million pay-per-views on YouTube before they fought on DAZN. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. That's the trend that we're seeing here. Excuse me. I'm going to repeat that. So at the same time, KSI and Logan Paul sold 1 million pay-per-views on YouTube. Wow. Before they fought on DAZN. Wow, look at that, you guys. Look at that. You see? Now, that's what I'm saying. The trend that we're seeing now, guys, is we're seeing YouTubers fight now. A long time ago, this was recently, or not recently, but I don't remember. It was a Twitter around there. I don't even know, you know, who posted it, but it was something around, you know, the time that Logan Paul and KSI were going to fight their first fight. There were talks about a soccer player, a professional soccer player, even talking about boxing now. Okay, so now we're seeing the trend, okay, in boxing. You know, a lot of it is also now recently talking about now currently getting pushed by DAZN, you know what I'm saying? And Eddie Hearn, I think he's getting to the point where, you know, he has to do something, you know, to help the revenue, you know, help profit at least for the zone, you know, and he's just pulling in these people, you know what I'm saying? And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing more of it. And I think we're going to see more of it in the future, guys. Now we're seeing, okay, Logan Paul versus Antonio Brown now. You know, it's getting more and more, you guys. So, I mean, I guess I don't know what you guys think about this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what your guys' opinions are about this. You know, real quick. And this is kind of related, okay, to it. But actually, I'll get to that later. I'll get to that a little bit later. But I don't know what you guys think about this. Now, Logan Paul versus Antonio Brown. Y'all have been seeing the video that's going viral, I guess, at least within the boxing community. You know, Antonio Brown now is, you know, treading on the mitts, and apparently he is, you know, hiring people to coach him and to train him and things like that, world-class fighters or what have you, whatever, right? But, you know, he looks like he's serious about it, and it looks like this is going to happen, you guys. Logan Paul versus Antonio Brown is going to happen. You know, I posted a video when they got mentioned, you know what I'm saying, recently. And there's another thing, and this also goes with Marcos Maidana. You know, some time ago recently, I talked about, you know, the fights in 2020, in the first quarter of 2020. And I mentioned Marcos Maidana. He's going to fight an MMA fighter, George Cali, in 2020, apparently. Okay. And there's an article here and it talks about that. It says that, you know, it says Argentine power puncher and former welterweight titleist Marcos Chino Maidana has made what appears to be a firm announcement of a ring return to the ring. This time against former combat sports artist, excuse me, George Acero Cali in a fight scheduled for mid-April of 2020. Now we're seeing that. All these fighters, you guys, okay, all these fighters, it's just getting more and more common now. This trend in boxing is getting more and more common. MMA fighters versus professional boxers. I think personally, I think that the perfect platform, look, guys, and it's not out there. People aren't really talking about it. That's why I like to talk about the things that are on, you know what I'm saying? I got a unique perspective on these things. The perfect sport, you guys, for MMA fighters to meet boxers is bare knuckle fighting championships. They should go there. That's my personal opinion, all right? They should go there. No gloves, get to it. That's the perfect medium. Excuse me. I see that as the perfect medium, you guys. There are no gloves, similar to professional boxing, right? The ring, it's a squared circle. It's smaller, more action. They don't run. There's not much running around in that squared circle, man. You know, they toe the line, boom, boom, face to face. Let's go. And it's just action packed. And you see like Labov, you know, you see MMA fighters. I mean, there's lots of them. You see MMA fighters in bare knuckle fighting championship and that sport. I think they should just go there, man. I mean, don't come to, you know, pro boxing. That's just my personal opinion when it comes to MMA fighter versus boxers. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. But the thing here is that bare knuckle fighting championship, I think, in my personal opinion, that's for people who really want to live legacy and test their fighting skills. That's like hardcore raw right there. Really hard. That's people who really want to show their legacy and, you know, show their skills. They put their skills to the test. That's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? I give ups to that. You know, so now we're seeing. So now we talked about Maidana versus a possible fight between Maidana and an MMA fighter, and now we're seeing and we're hearing Conor McGregor. Okay, he was recently interviewed. All right, and he said this. Okay, now he wants to come back and rematch Floyd. You know, I'm just talking about the trends, guys. Like I said, I'm just talking about the trends in boxing and fighting that we're seeing now, okay? This is what he said, quote, "I'd like to rematch Floyd," okay? This is McGregor talking. "I think we should rematch Floyd. He's flirting with a comeback and doing all this. He can go and pick someone else. It's not going to be the same." So he's talking about rematching Floyd Mayweather. He just wants the bag. You guys, we already know that these fights, it's not a question of, oh, is McGregor going to win? I mean, forget that nonsense. That's just a foolish thoughts, okay? We know who's going to win in a rematch, okay? McGregor is, okay, I'm going to continue. I mean, it says here, this is McGregor talking. But also, check this out. But also, I would be open to other boxing bouts, okay? And he continues to say, Manny, we were actually close to signing a fight with Manny. There's been talks about a Manny fight as well. There was an offer made on that, just not yet. Excuse me. So now McGregor is talking about not only rematching Floyd Mayweather, but now he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao too. You see these trends, guys. It's just going to keep growing and growing, guys. I think that's what I see. You know, at the same time, though, I see boxing, you know, having great matchups between pro fighters, not this trend that we're seeing. But I see a great year for boxing in 2020. I'm not being pessimist. I'm just talking about the trends that we're seeing. You know what I'm saying? I just want to reiterate that. You know what I'm saying? So now we see Conor McGregor wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. We know that's a big business deal. That's a big money grab, and that's a great potential for millions and millions that they can all, you know, cash in on as far as Manny and his team, McGregor and his team, you know what I'm saying? And now he continues to say, you know, now he continues to say, McGregor says, very much so. McGregor, okay, this isn't talking. It says, and the Paulie Malignaggi fight, I'd like to box Paulie as well. Him out, but that's a bit of buzz as well when they were sparring. He's referring to for the Floyd Mayweather fight. Paulie and a boxing bout. I want to box again. I will box again. I will get a boxing world title. Okay, man. This is McGregor. I think he's personally trying just to hype up his market, his name. He's hyping him. He's marketing himself in this way, speaking that, excuse me, that he will get a boxing world title. I mean, that I don't know, man. I just don't. I just, you know, that's just something that we're seeing nowadays. And what Trey X mentioned a moment ago, you know what I'm saying? Trey X mentioned about, you know, Amanda Nunes, right? She's a Brazilian MMA fighter, if I'm not mistaken, right? A Brazilian fighter, MMA. I personally, she's a good fighter, man. I remember seeing her fight recently, and some months ago. She's a fighter, man. And I don't know. I think I would be. You know, I'm not saying I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Clarissa Shields, you know, versus Amanda Nunes. I possibly would watch it. You know what I'm saying? I would watch it. I think it would be interesting, you know, but I would rather watch Clarissa Shields fight Breckhaus. You know, I'm sorry how to pronounce that last name. Sorry. Yeah. Cecilia, right? I think I would rather have her watch that. I would rather watch that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is, right? If Clarissa fights Amanda, hey, it would be interesting. I would watch it. You know what I'm saying? Because I personally think Clarissa is the next biggest thing in female boxing. Just to see her skills again. You know, I love to see her fight always. You know what I'm saying? So Clarissa's amazing. So yeah, I think it would be cool. You know, so that's the thing. Excuse me. So we're seeing, all these trends, these trends specifically that are happening in particular that are happening, MMA fighters versus pro boxers, you know what I'm saying, getting into the mix, MMA fighters fighting as pro boxers now. We're also seeing now YouTubers fighting in pro boxing, you know what I'm saying, a gamer fighting in pro boxing. And, now we're seeing former, Patriot NFL star, fighting a YouTuber in pro boxing. I mean, and this, I don't know if this is the word, maybe it's too extreme. It causes outrage, amongst, real boxing fans. You know what I'm saying? It causes outrage, and it causes, it brings offense to real hardcore fans of the sport. But the thing here is that the businessmen, the tycoons, behind that are pulling the strings, they don't think like that. You know what I'm saying? They're pulling in all these, the casuals. They're pulling in those who have, nothing, not much at least about the sport. I'm saying they're pulling that crowd in, and that's how they see it. They just see numbers. You know what I'm saying? They just see numbers. So I in my personal point of view, totally wrong as far as, being a boxing fan. I love the sport of boxing, and to see these things, you know what I mean? I mean, just look at how, with all due respect to say, what I'm saying, Jake Paul, and Anderson Gibb, look at their screen, look at their photos, man. Like those promotional photos they're putting, and, Andrade is in the back, versus Keeler. It shows them in the back. And then these kids, Jake Paul and Anderson Gibb, are in front of them, posing as boxers. Just look at their faces, man. Look at these kids' faces and how they pose. They don't even look like fighters, man. They don't even look like boxers. And to be promoting these kinds of things, it's like, man, come on now. At least this is something that, Chris Reyna, salute to El Chapo. This is something that he said, and I want to talk about what he said in one of my, another live he posted. No, I'm sorry. It was on a video. He commented on a video of mine. And he said that he said something along the lines that it was a good idea to see these kinds of fights. You know what I mean? And he said something like, at least they should, distinguish it as celebrity boxing or something like that. And I agree. If these fights are being promoted apart from, make them separate events. Yeah, I would be more satisfied with that. You know what I'm saying? As a true boxing fan, I would be more satisfied with, these events being pushed as celebrity boxing or something like that. Categorize it as something else. You know what I'm saying? Not lining up these YouTubers and gamers and, NFL players, MMA fighters even. Or I don't know about MMA fighters. That's a little bit more close to fighting, but, I'm saying, like pro boxing, I guess. But, I mean, I just explained that a moment ago that, I think personally MMA fighters versus pro boxers, that should be in bare knuckle fighting championship. Take them over there, you know what I'm saying? But obviously for the money grab, the industry makes millions and millions and millions of dollars. So, I mean, that's where the prize is, you know what I'm saying? And I understand why they do that. But as a pure as a boxing fan, I think they should just move it to bare knuckle fighting championship. And these YouTuber fighters, pro fight boxing fights, gamers, NFL players. Look, guys, I don't doubt later maybe actors will get in the mix. Eddie Hearn's going to be chasing down actors. Eddie Hearn might be chasing down WWE, wrestlers to get in the mix. You know what I'm saying? NBA players. Oh, there's a grudge between, for example, there's a grudge between, this NBA player, you know what I'm saying, versus that. Oh, no, they're talking smack on Twitter. All right. And Heard's going to probably capitalize on them too. Hey, come on, let's put on the gloves. There's going to be this makes for a great, marketing strategy, moneymaker. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I just see that this trend happening more and more. And I think that the best thing to do is just to separate it, separate it from the, pro fighting atmosphere and put it something like celebrity boxing or something, put a title over it. Like El Chapo mentioned, salute to El Chapo, Chris Reyna. He mentioned that in a comment, and I agree. That's a good idea. but don't mix it, you know, in a pro fighting card. It's like, come on, man. The main event is pro fighting champions. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got two fighters like Andrade versus Keeler, which I'm not interested in that fight really. I would like to see Andrade again, you know, portray his skills. But that opponent, I mean, I think it's gonna be easy work, I guess, you know, but we cannot underestimate opponents, underdogs, because we all saw what happened with underdog. We all know what happens sometimes, what underdogs can do. So I mean, I'm not, you know, but I would rather see, which I think you all agree, you know, too, that Andrade can face better competition. But anyways, but my point is that seeing YouTubers, a gamer and a YouTuber fight in the card of a champion fighter, you know what I'm saying, in the same card, it doesn't mix. It doesn't mix. Just look how they stand. I mean, look at the stances in these promotional photos. You know what I'm saying? I'm just speaking what it is, you know, the trends that we're seeing now in boxing. I'm about to leave right now. I just wanted to do this quick, you know, not too quick, but, you know, 40 minutes. But I got some other things to do right now. But I just wanted to put this out there. You know what I'm saying? That what do you guys think we're going to see in the future, you know, as far as this trend? Do you guys think it's going to get more and more? Or, and now going back to the zone, you know what I'm saying? Because it seems like the zone is pushing this more. Excuse me, guys. Seems like the zone is pushing this more. Do you guys think that it's just like you think this will last? That's like kind of my question. Do you think this trend will last? Because it looks like the zone's pushing it more for the need of subscribers, for the need of, you know, making a profit. You know what I'm saying? According to this article, they should switch to pay-per-view, but that, you know, that's totally contradictory. That's totally contradictory to, you know, one of the grabs, or one of the, you know, the things that they have been saying since Eddie Hearn touched American soil, who's working in conjunction with the zone. He was saying that pay-per-view is dead. Eddie Hearn was talking, you know, really bad, offensive. You know, he was offending American promoters like Al Heyman and Bob Arum, saying that they don't know what they're doing. You know, pay-per-view, that's not the right model. They don't know how to do this, marketing, boxing, and this and that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the zone will be, I don't know. Who knows, right? Who knows? But do you guys think that this trend will last as far as YouTubers and YouTuber fighting a gamer? And you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be here for a while, man. So just get ready for it, man. I guess, you know, like I said, we got to roll with the punches as far as with the sport of boxing, you know what I'm saying? And this is just a trend that we're seeing. It's quite relevant now. It's quite open. It's out there. It's getting more attention. I wouldn't be surprised if, even though it's apart from the zone, you know, Tyson Fury is on ESPN. I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson Fury, he already mixed in, you know, some gigs and events with WWE. I wouldn't be surprised someone's in the background getting the idea of, you know, having a WWE fighter come and box Tyson Fury in a pro fight. I wouldn't be surprised. So it is what it is, man. We'll see where this trend goes. We'll see where this trend where this trend will go, right? Sorry, but so I don't know, man. It's just a trip. So put your comments below, man. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you so much. Push this video out there, guys, because I want this to get into the mind of people. You know what I'm saying? Just that they know what's going on and what might be going on in the future. It looks like it's going to happen. So I mean, a lot of this is going to happen more and more. So I want to hear your opinions. That's why, because I want to hear your opinions. I want you guys to comment below. Let me know your opinions, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for liking, viewing, etc., etc. Renee Box Young, salute from the South, down South Mexico. Much love to y'all. One love, family. Peace.